got a bit of heat in number one now. It runs, that's the main thing. Let's try again, mate. Oh, I'll do it, go on. Well, that's definitely firing on number one now, so. Right, we don't need that for the moment. We'll have a look at some dimensions if we can.
Okay, can you just tell us about our latest little project?
Oh, sorry. 1977 Camaro. California car. I've decoded everything on it now, all the trim tags, everything. It was originally black, with a black vinyl interior.
Okay.
No vinyl roof, so it's just black on black. As I say, built in Van Nuys, California. Biggest issue with these is they have it's an anti-pollution device. It's called smog,
okay.
Anti-smog, which is this pump here, and all these pipes that go into the exhaust manifolds. It injects air into the exhaust manifolds. It's supposed to make it more eco-friendly.
Yeah. But
basically rip all that out and throw it away.
Okay. Not a great believer then.
No, all they do is sort of bog an engine down as such.
Right.
You won't gain a lot of horsepower by it, because what you have to do is take the catalytic converter out the exhaust. This was all for California state emissions.
Okay.
Any other, or most other counties in America didn't have it. So you have to take all of this off. This is a charcoal canister here. All these pipes can come out. You just tidies up the whole engine bay, get rid of everything. If you want to do it to get gain, it won't gain a massive amount of power. It'll probably 5 to 10 horsepower just by taking that off. Your biggest gain is by taking the exhaust off, the catalytic converter,
yeah,
changing your headers. But that's up to him whether he wants to do that or not. I would strongly recommend getting the smog out of the way, because it's a load of shit. Obviously it's been changed from it's only a 305 cubic inch. It's been changed from 2-barrel inlet manifold to 4-barrel inlet manifold with a quadrajet, a Rochester quadrajet carb on it, which is better performance.
Okay.
HEI Dizzy, which probably was original for 77, I would have thought. So you don't have a coil, that big block in the middle is the coil as such, yeah?
Okay.
It's got all sorts of horrible wiring and crap on it. Obviously it's tatty, it's very tatty, but guy loves it, wants to do it, so bodywork's bodywork. What he wants to do first of all is get it mechanically sound.
Yeah.
So because it was flooded, it's been underwater,
right,
so he wants us to check all the subframes, which they're so solid you're never ever gonna, I suppose they do rust out, but it'd have to be underwater for 20 years I would have thought.
Right.
It's got all the new brake parts up there. Recommend it needs new wheel bearings, obviously, because they've been underwater.
When you say underwater, I mean up to what point are we talking about?
Well, up to the gear shifter there. So it was probably about there.
Right.
Obviously this floor pan's rotted out, but your structural members, your inner and outer seals, that's what doesn't add any strength at all, no? So you've got your rear spring hangers come about here, so we've got some ginger here which we'll cut out and repair. Yeah, there's nothing frantically, I mean that's just a rusty floor pan.
Yeah.
It happens to anything, you know. The main box sections that run across there and everything underneath are all solid.
Yeah.
Obviously bodywork wise, yeah, the back windows on these always rust out, front windows always rust out. It's had a whack up the back of this, I think it's punched the boot lid, I think that's what it's done. So there's no reason for that to be all punched, because the lower end looks alright. I think it's been whacked there. That's another boot lid, I would say. That hinge is bent like that, look. That one's, he's bent like that, but not as much. It's had a shunt there.
Yeah.
So till he does, I don't want to get involved with that till he wants to do the bodywork.
Yeah.
And then we can just get it out. Might need a new rear panel, depends what jacks out and what doesn't, we'll have to see. But that side is very bent and full of filler. Doors are full of filler. So it's just that's a bodywork project.
Yeah.
So just doing the mechanicals, I don't think will be too bad at all. But what I need to do is get it up in the air and cross-check measurements everywhere to make sure it isn't 2 inches shorter than it should be, or something stupid, you know.
And if you find there is a twist in it or bent that's past that point, then what happens?
You basically have to strip all the axles out and everything and get the shell on a body jig.
Right.
But it's got to be a long way out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A long way out.
What are you looking at there?
Dimensions for the chassis. We only really need these cross dimensions here. You know, from that point there and that point there to that point there, wherever that hole is.
Yeah.
On the opposite side you've got 56 and 3/8 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch. This is where I need to put my glasses on, because I could be reading it completely wrong. Let's start with some cursory checks. Robin's been through all of these joints. Might need some track rod ends, yeah, but there's no movement on them as per se, you know. So across the front, outside to outside, 41 inches. That's probably to that inner sub rail. That's not far out at all. That's nothing to worry about.
What's the tolerance?
Oh, probably get away with 1/2 inch on it, to be honest with you. Centre line 44 3/4. 44 3/4. I'm happy with that. Yep, that's close enough not to worry about. See, your telltale signs are, if you can feel bulges in any of this, it means it's been walloped and moved, you know?
Yeah.
Which it hasn't got anywhere. Yeah, like I say, these are good 1/8 of an inch thick. You got to fucking go something to rust one of them out. That's just the powder coating coming off. See, this is what he was on about, and it's an awful lot of work to get all of that out. You can do it, but it's exactly what he wants doing, because you're into then new bushes everywhere, new shock absorbers everywhere. It's entirely up to him. It's all doable.
Why would you? Why wouldn't you?
Because it's not as bad as it looks. I mean, it looks horrible, yes, but it's not that rusty.
Right.
But it's entirely up to him. He's more worried about it being safe, and I think he's overthinking things.
Right.
Which is fair enough. So let's do a cross measurement. I think it's that one, isn't it?
I think it's that one, isn't it?
So we've got 56 and 5/8. Basically, if the two-dimensional ones are the correct length from there to there and the cross measurement, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is the centre of that bolt there, I believe. Hang on, let's have a double check. Edge of that bolt there, by the looks of that, isn't it? Edge of that hole.
Edge.
Okay, well, you go that in then. And we've got 56 and 5/8 we want. Yeah, 56 and 5/8.
56, 5/8.
Okay, try the other way, mate. That's within 1/16 of an inch.
Nothing.
So that's cool.
That's nothing.
Okay, so she's straight. Chassis leg to chassis leg. 57 and 7/16. Alright then, got that one?
No, your hands in the way.
Yeah, bang on.
There you go.
So where you think it's been waxed, that's not really.
No, it's not low end. It's been, I think, if you look at the state of where the hinges are, it's been smashed on the boot lid, I think, above the bumper.
Yeah.
And that's what's caused all the damage. Let's just do see if we can get a cross check on the axle. Right, 42 and a half. That is an 1/8 of an inch out. That's cool. That's nothing to worry about. I mean, you're not going racing, do you know what I mean? Right, so that's all good.
First hurdle over.
Yeah, so that's not bent. Okay, the bodywork's bent, we know that, but it's not structurally bent.
Yeah.
And like I say, all of these inner seals and everything, they're all solid. You might get a little bit round when the quarters join here, because these are rotten up here, but there's nothing internal that's gone. There's no fiberglass in it, you know, it's all solid. You know, this is going to be full of pug, we know that, but when you start doing your bodywork, then you encounter that then, you know.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of that. which I shouldn't think there's anything left back in there. If he wants to put a set of headers on it, put a set of headers on it. So all in all, yeah,
Good start.
good start to the project. Yeah,
Definitely.
it's all good. I mean, it's got the wrong seats in it, so they've drilled holes in the floor to put the other seats in, and they've cracked around the holes and things like that because they haven't put any support plates on them.
Yeah.
So normally when you put something through a floor pan, you put a big, what they call a repair washer on it.
Yeah.
Small hole in the middle, big fat, so it spreads the load.
Yeah.
So every time you're bouncing up and down on that seat, it's just going to punch a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. But that one is your VIN number, your chassis number, which is here on that plate there. It's hard to read, it's got a bit rusty like that.
Yeah.
So that equates to, 1 means General Motors, Q means base Camaro, 87 means hardtop coupe, U means it's a 305 cubic inch, 145 horsepower, 2-barrel carb, hence 145 horsepower is nothing for one of these because it's a smog engine. 7 means 1977, L means it's Van Nuys California build, and that's your sequential production number there.
Yeah.
Now this tag here is what you call a trim tag, so that's got more detail in it, yeah? So you've got ST77, model year 1977, 1FQ87 means General Motors, Camaro, Sports Coupe, hardtop. L again is your Van Nuys assembly plant. This is a Fisher body number, yeah?
Okay.
Nothing, doesn't equate to the chassis number at all. Fisher's the body maker.
Yeah.
So that's your body number. 19R means your internal trim was black vinyl. A51 means it had bucket seats. W means it was water-based paint.
God, very specific, isn't it?
Yeah. 19L is lower, 19U is upper. I'm not sure what the W means. It might mean with. So black paint, upper and lower, yeah?
Yeah.
01E means it's built on the 5th week of January 1977. B means the steering column and dash were black. And that's 28177 is a Fisher plant batch code, not related to the VIN either. Right, so we've got new spark plugs we've already put in. Haven't stripped the back brakes out yet, but so new rear wheel cylinders, yeah?
Yeah.
That is the front handbrake cable, I believe, so you have to cut the handbrake cables to get them out, yeah?
Okay.
I think that's the front one. Right, that's the front brake pads. That's a rear handbrake cable, I believe correctly. Yep. Right, so that's your 3 handbrake cables. One goes from the car to a splitter in the middle, and one goes either side. New rear brake shoes. New rear brake drums. So that's your new front discs. It's one a fucking ton. New set of plug leads. So I'm not worried about putting those on at the moment, just get it running. So at the moment, 2 front calipers, because they're knackered. There's no point in trying to repair them.
No.
Set of wheel bearings for the front. When we get the back apart, have a look. If the oil seals are gone, it'll need a set of rear wheel bearings, I would have said.
Yeah.
But we'll drain the diff and see if that's got salt water in it. If it's milk, then it's had water in it, so you need to change the seals and bearings on it. Inner bearings will probably be okay, it's just the outer ones. If
it was you, what would you do? From what you've seen so far?
I would clean it all up. We've got to check the gearbox, that's the first one of the things we've got to do.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work, then that might have to come out.
Yeah.
But it did go into gear with it off the floor.
Yeah.
But now we know it will start and run, we can check it. If it goes into gear, I'm sure it'll be fine, but if it's had salt water in it, you've got to drain it and change the filters in it and all of that. But he bought it 4 or 5 years ago, I think he said, and it was all running and nice. Then it just got flooded, and it just got left there.
Okay. What's the danger with the salt water?
Rust, getting into places, but there's so many holes in those cross members and stuff.
But as opposed to fresh water and salt water?
Do exactly the same. Salt water just leaves more of a residue.
Right.
So blast all the holes out, wax oil, just fill it all up with wax oil and then just underseal it. It's never going to be a show car, so, again, it's totally how far he wants to go.
Yeah.
He was on about taking the front subframe out and getting it powder coated, but as I said, then you're into all new suspension bushes, all new joints, the whole lot. The steering column, that's the other thing we've got to sort out because that is highly dangerous. It's a tilt steering column and there ain't a lot of tilt left in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that needs addressing. Mate, it's not even bent across the back there. Ooh. Yeah, so all in all, it's a tasty project.